The Road to Isengard. This is one of those transitional chapters in which not a whole lot goes on.
Well, you know what goes on in this chapter is Gimli talks for about 4 pages about those damn caves.
I noticed that. Like, why don't you just marry those caves?
It's like, I would if I could.
We're going to chisel all around them to make a beautiful little lava lamp feature.
Like things. It'll be funny. It's like he rambled on for 3 pages, but he didn't know how to describe anything. It's like, it was just like, you should have seen it.
Like it just he didn't know the words.
Yeah, you know the words. Like, it's just like things all over the place. Just like completely like, Legolas is just looking at him like, what are you talking about?
Bright things and brighter things
like
and
shiny things. Just I looked and there's water and things.
It's shiny bright.
I know.
See, I can't do a Scottish accent, so I just do the Cockney.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm doing that right, but I know it's more of a kind of a working class British.
What did Gimli have a Scottish accent, or did they? Was that just the dwarves in
Well, the dwarves in Rings of Power had a Scottish accent for sure.
Man, we haven't had a callback like that in a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. So Gimli and Legolas talk about the caves of Helm's Deep and the Fangorn Forest, and they make their agreement to go visit each other's favorite place. And then from then we kind of Gandalf gathers the Rohirrim and Theoden, and they kind of like say, "Hey, let's head out to Isengard." So,
yeah, well, it was funny. It was like Theoden was like, "Oh, we have to rest. We don't have the men that we can go and
we just fought a big battle at Helm's Deep, and like our men are tired and weary."
Yeah. So we can't march out of Isengard right now. And Gandalf's like, nah, like he was really cryptic about the whole thing. He never said like, oh no, that's already taken care of. He was just like,
my men are weary with battle. I am weary also, for I have ridden far and slept little. Alas, my old age is not feigned, nor due only to the whisperings of worm tongue. Gandalf is like, but do not command many men to go with you, Theoden. We go to a parley, not a fight. So we're going to a parley and not a fight.
Right.
But how does he know that, first of all?
Right. Because Gandalf, as we'll discover in Flotsam and Jetsam, which we haven't got there yet.
Right.
Gandalf's been to Isengard. You know what I'm saying? Gandalf knows what the F is going on in Isengard. He knows that Treebeard has got this.
So right here, he should have just said, Theoden, check it out. I've been to Isengard. We've already won there.
Yeah, so, we're golden. We're just gonna go and
he kind of says that in that we're not going to a fight. But he doesn't really of course, Tolkien doesn't want to telegraph the punch too much and reveal what's going on in Isengard before we get there. But it seems funny, and you pointed it out, that here King Theoden is super almost anxious, oh shoot, we can't go on. We're tired, and there's a whole new army to conquer that's probably bursting out of Orthanc, and Gandalf doesn't reveal the truth to what's in store for them. He's just we're gonna go talk but not fight, but that's so mysterious. He doesn't really explain it.
It could be every time Gandalf goes to parley, something goes wrong. You know what I'm saying? He went to go talk to Saruman the last time and got thrown in a damn tower. But the whole when you read this whole chapter, it's up until you get to Isengard, it's they're oh, we can't relax because we don't know what's in store. I mean, it just feels like
right. I mean, it's the trees help defeat their enemies, but they're kind of they get the sense that the ents aren't really their friends either.
Well, the ents really aren't their friends. I mean, let's face it. I mean,
right.
But
the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and so you'd think that Gandalf would be see all these trees that you're really creeped out by? Well, they just help us win against Saruman, so don't worry about it.
Well, actually, he did tell Theoden that. He did tell Theoden that he said, like when they saw the three ents that came out of the forest, right?
Oh yeah, and didn't they say they looked like herons or something?
Yeah, yeah. But he said that even though like many lifetimes like of men have passed, and that's just but a small accounting for the ants, whatever. But he said that even though you know it not, that you have allies.
Right. I mean, Gimli was like, "What shall we see?" He asks them specifically, "What will we see when we get to Isengard down here at the bottom?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I do not know myself for certain," answered the wizard. "I was there at nightfall yesterday, but much may have happened since." But he knew the ends.
He literally talked to Merry and Pippin. It's like, and like everything's okay. You know what I'm saying? Talk to Treebeard.
What is he trying to like get Gimli to have a sense of like anxiety or like, oh, well, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but just you wait, you'll find out.
I mean, look, Gandalf was probably playing a little bit close to the close to the chest or whatever, like
right?
Saying that,
holding his cards close to the chest, or
yes, he still like wasn't sure how if like Sauron could have sent more like armies, like more orcs down to reinforce Isengard, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So. But he should have been like, yeah, I think everything's going to be okay, guys.
Right. You just don't worry about it. They finally catch sight of these ents, and they came swiftly north, walking like waiting herons in their gait.
Yeah,
I'll post a video of what that looks like, a waiting heron. But now that he describes it like that, like these big, long, gangly legs that like bend, like a heron's legs just. They look like sticks.
Yeah.
And that's an appropriate visual metaphor. It's like just a stick that kind of walks in a very stick-like and not very flexible looking way.
Almost if they're made of wood.
Almost like
so are ents wood. Are ents witches?
Well, let's see if they float in water. I bet the end would float in water.
I bet you'd float in water. I bet you that you could build a bridge out of them.
But can you not also make bridges out of stone?
I don't think they'd like that.
No.
But what also floats in water?
Rocks.
Only very small rocks.
Gravy.
Mud, raisins, churches.
Bread. Apples. Cherries. Mud. Churches. Lead. A duck.
All right. Well, but otherwise there's a lot of just kind of moving through landscapes in this. Like they look at the Isen and they, it's kind of all dammed up and it starts flowing, blah, blah, blah. This has become a dreary place, said Eomer. What sickness has befallen the river? Many fair things Saruman has destroyed. Has he devoured the springs of Isen too? Yeah, so, anyway, but the point is they're just kind of wandering through some landscapes, which is fine. I've talked about how important that is to Lord of the Rings. I think it's very important. Yeah. But I think we can just kind of shoot straight past that and get to the fun stuff when they meet Merry and Pippin.
Here's hobbits.
So Gimli was like, oh, I don't know whether to kill you or... Come over here, guys. Give me a hug.
Come here, you little rascals.
I've been running 500 miles with these iron boots, and
I know.
Here you are with your feet kicked up, smoking some pipes.
You know how many times I've almost lost Galadriel's 3 hairs that she gave me?
I've been carrying the Book of Marsaburl all around.
Hell. I put the hairs in Marsaburl, and now I know it's safe.
Anyway.
No, it's I mean, this is kind of like it's like the end of another adventure, so to speak.
Yeah. I thought it was really bizarre how this chapter ended. Usually Tolkien's, like, the last sentence of every chapter is very poignant or thoughtful.
Yeah.
This seemed just super random. So The hobbits bowed low. So that is the king of Rohan, said Pippin in an undertone. A very fine fellow, very polite.
Right.
Such a, like, I mean, okay, so at first it struck me as odd, but for one, it's kind of like it shows that, I mean, the whole point with this ending this way is like, here's all these great deeds by kings and stuff, and then you come back into the world of hobbits and all they want to talk about is pipeweed and the history of pipeweed and, food and their larder and conies and, just the usual domestic kind of bliss that hobbits like and the pleasures of home and all this stuff. And so the fact that Theoden was like, hey, we're going to take care of some stuff, but later I'm going to come back and we're going to talk, but I want you to tell me about Tobold the Old and his herb lore, or as the Brits would say, herb lore.
Herb lore, because there's an H in it.
And so the hobbits are like, whoa, that guy cares about like the stuff we care about. Plus he also knew not just the hobbit's name, but he knew about the original, like, kind of almost like Anglo-Saxon sounding word for hobbit. I don't even want to mangle it. The holy bata or something. How do you pronounce it? Some among us call the holy bitan. Are these not the halflings that some among us call the Hobbitlan? Hobbitlan.
You know what? Here's the thing that Tolkien was really, really good at, though, with the hobbits particularly. Like, speaking of like, here again, like as Gandalf had pointed out, here we are on the brink of a major conflict, whatever, and they're going to sit here and talk about
etymology
and
pipeweed and the etymology of the word hobbits.
It does when you're reading these, when you're reading them, like when Merry and Pippin or Frodo and Sam, like when anything bad is happening or whatever, and they go into like these little lighter kind of moments, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem shoehorned. You know what I'm talking about? It kind of is like, it makes sense in the text of the story.
Right. No. I mean, they're not just comic relief. I mean, like comic relief would just make a dark work lighter and more comedic. But there's something. They're almost like domestic relief or comforts of home relief to a work that would otherwise be like so grand and so epic that it would not be as relatable. So the hobbits always serve that function of like bringing it close to the, even though, I would say bringing it close to the human level, even though it's hobbits, the hobbit level, the human level, like the hearth, gardens, those kinds of things.
If you make the comparison to, say, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I'm not the comparison, but how Lewis wrote the relationship with the children, and how they talk. It was a very like you're saying, like very normal, for like I can imagine that this is what the English countryside was like in the 1940s,
right.
Like the whole kind of like simple pleasures, where like when you look at Game of Thrones, like there was none of this, it was like very it was cool, but there wasn't like this like
childlike sense.
Kinda, yeah.
I mean, not child. I mean, children don't smoke pipeweed, but
but
when I say childlike, I mean just like simple, just basic like sensual pleasures, but not sexual pleasures, like food, pipes. I mean, sexual pleasures maybe, but I know that you're getting
not in this book.
Not in this book, but like, I mean, that's more
that's
Game of
more
Thronesy.
Martin stuff.
You're right.
But no, but like I said, there's a lot of I like find it very comfortable to read, and when it's like you've just been through this major battle, right?
Right.
And now it's kind of like it's kind of like the sigh of relief, kind of like, oh, look, they've got pipeweed, they have the spoils of the spoils of war. They whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they're literally sitting on the spoils of war. But like, I'm trying to imagine what the Lord of the Rings would be without hobbits, and it would suck. I think. I mean, it wouldn't suck, but it wouldn't be as, like I said, relatable. It wouldn't be as close to the heart.
It would be the Silmarillion. I mean, in a way,
It would be. Yeah, it'd be more distant, more historical, and it probably wouldn't sell as well. But then I'm trying to think of what it would be with only hobbits, and it would just be like
it'd be like 4 pages.
It would be 4 pages.
Like
no, but like,
then,
but it's like it gives, having it hobbits and non-hobbits together, and having it be all grand and epic, but also comfortable and domestic, gives it this extraordinary like peaks and valleys. Like, it's very topographical, where you get like high highs and low lows, and like rather than if it's all airy fairy like historical mythological stuff, it loses some of the relevance to us. But if it's all just us, it loses some of the forward looking, high looking like glory of the grand achievements that get accomplished in the book. So it just I don't know, it gives it texture. It makes it multidimensional. It makes it three-dimensional.
It just makes it a complete story. For the last few chapters, right, that weren't concerning hobbits, not that it felt like a different book, because Gandalf and and Aragorn and everyone was there, but it doesn't. It's not The Hobbit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Tolkien probably knew that the readers would miss the hobbits and be glad to see Merry and Pippin sitting here comfortably feasting. Like, I was worried about the little guys, and here they are, and they're also bringing in this kind of like joking, lighthearted, like more down to earth quality that I've been sorely missing, just hanging out with these kings for the last few days.
And
No,
and I'd be curious to see like what happens when it's only hobbits. Like if it feels like that when it's Frodo and Sam and pretty much just them. Like in the next in the second half of this book.
Well, they're saddled with the biggest task of all, and the most epic, glorious task of all. So it's like you got and Sam kind of being the help is, again, it's like he's the lowest of the low in a way. And if the hobbits are kind of the lowly creatures, I mean, nothing against hobbits, I love them, but if they're kind of the lowly creatures in terms of this hierarchy, Sam is a kind of a working class gardener among the hobbits. So he's like the lowest of the low, going to the highest of the high in terms of his achievement.
Well, he's the lowest of the low as far as like this particular group. I'm sure there's lower hobbits someplace.
No, but, like Ted Sandeman. Yeah. No, you know what I mean. I'm just saying. Right. Lobelia Sackville Baggins is the lowest of the low.
No, but I'm talking about like she's not. Lobelia is probably not a simpleton. She's probably like.
Oh right, no, she's a Baggins.
She's a Baggins, and she's
a Sackville Baggins.
She's probably way better than these filthy hobbits.
The Proudfoots.
Yeah.
Grubs and Chubs.
Grubs and Chubs.
Those would be the lower class. No,
right.
Anyway,
because there's some hobbits just find any old hole to hold it up.
Apparently, they live in sand dunes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But I do think like when the fact that Theoden knows, ear to the ground, he knows a little bit about hobbits, right? And and he calls them the Hobbitlan, like as if like they come from his ancient history of his people, and then it's explained, well, the hobbits come from the north, and the Rohirrim originally came from the north, so they're thinking, oh, we kind of know. No wonder we know about you, because we both come from the same part of Middle Earth, and so it's like this nice kind of, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it gives it depth and a history. Like, oh, both these groups of people have a long history, and somewhere in the depths of time they intersected or interacted, And that's what we're kind of getting an echo of here.
Maybe it's the Harfoots.
Well, they like to wander.
Right.
Call to me, call to me,
Wandering
lands far
They like to wander aimlessly
For I must now
for no reason at all.
wander this wandering day. Away I must wander this wandering day.